Democrats are pushing full steam ahead on Biden's Build Back Better plan. This is despite what many are calling a referendum on the Biden progressive agenda earlier this week when Glenn Youngkin flipped Virginia red.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is hoping to pass the infrastructure bill by the end of the week. And Lindsay, Speaker Pelosi alluded to the fact that Democrats' inability to get anything done on this Build Back Better agenda could have played a part in Democrat Terry McAuliffe's loss in Virginia.
There's no question. If we, the more results we can produce in a way that is people understand in their lives, the better it is. I'm heartbroken because Terry McAuliffe is a great leader in our country.
Clearly, the Virginia people don't think so, Jen. Meanwhile, progressive Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez had a different take on the matter. Watch this.
On the election front, I actually think we have good news as well. I know that Virginia was a huge bummer, and honestly, if anything, I think that the results show the limits of trying to run a fully 100% super moderated campaign.
And not all Democrats are singing the same tune, Lindsay. Moderate Democrats like Tulsi Gabbard, they are hailing the Democratic loss as a rebuke of leftist extremism. Gabbard said, quote, McAuliffe's loss is a victory for all Americans. Why? Because it was a resounding rejection of efforts to divide us by race, the stripping of parental rights, and arrogant, deaf leaders. This benefits us all, she said.
Well, while Biden continues to push his massive spending spree, Jen, inflation is at its highest point in over 3 decades. The labor crisis continues, and the supply chain shortage builds as the holidays only get closer. And sadly, more bad news on the horizon. This is according to a new prediction. Bank of America executives say crude oil, which drives gas prices, will increase to $120 a barrel. That's by next summer, June of 2022. That's 45% higher than current levels. So many of you are already seeing the highest gas prices that you've experienced in 7 years, and sadly, that's not going to get better.
And what is Biden doing about this? He's blaming the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, or OPEC, for the high gas prices. Many fellow Democrats have even called Biden out, saying the United States has the ability to fix this ourselves.
That's right. And we even saw Governor Abbott say that he was willing to help, and Biden didn't take the help. Well, to weigh in on Biden's failing agenda, let's bring in Texas Congressman Mike McCaul. Congressman, thanks for being on the show. Welcome back.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, so once again, no surprise, you have the Democratic Party split on some of these takeaways from the Virginia governor's race, AOC there, saying that McAuliffe should have been more progressive. And then you had Tulsi Gabbard say this is a rebuke on progressive policies. What are you seeing after Tuesday's GOP win? Are Democrats walking away from Biden's agenda, or are they embracing it more?
No, they're in disarray, very chaotic. I just got off the House floor. They're still trying to get the votes for a bill that we don't know what's in it. Still reminds me of when we passed Obamacare. You had to pass it to see what's in it. And but I do think Tuesday was a referendum on the president, a rebuke of President Biden's policies. And of course, the moderates blame the progressives and vice versa. But I think the point's very clear. I mean, you have a failing agenda here, inflation, the economy, and then a pandemic, and they want to pass a massive tax and spend bill. You have a wide open border in my home state of Texas, and you have a colossal failure in Afghanistan, which is now under the control of the Taliban and is a terrorist state. And that combined with the wide open border, as I chaired Homeland Security Committee, is a very dangerous, combination. So I think the American people are not buying into this Biden plan and policy. And Tuesday was a bellwether of what is yet to come.
Yeah. And Congressman, speaking of the border and immigration, after the Wall Street Journal reported last week that the Department of Homeland Security and the Justice Department and Health and Human Services were having conversations about giving illegal migrants separated under the Trump administration $450,000 each, you co-sponsored an act to block the Biden administration from doing so. When asked about those reports, Biden said this yesterday.
If you guys keep sending that garbage out, yeah, but it's not true.
So this is a garbage report?
Yeah.
Okay. So
$450,000 per person. Is that what you're saying?
That was separated from a family member at the border under the last administration.
That's not going to happen.
So Congressman, is he trying to hide what his administration is doing, or is he really just out to lunch on this one?
I honestly think there's a disconnect. I think he's out to lunch. It demonstrates his incompetence. He doesn't even know what his own administration is doing. I've talked to my sources in the Justice Department, and they are negotiating a settlement in these cases. The Democrats are looking about putting money into this reconciliation package to pay these claims. And imagine the message this sends to those who want to come across our border. You know what? If you break our laws, you're gonna win the lottery. We're gonna give you $450,000 per person, $1 million per family. It's bad enough already, but to send that kind of message, and just the fact the president calls it garbage when the ACLU says no, that's not true, and his own Justice Department won't go along that lines. They're telling me they are negotiating a settlement.
Unbelievable. They should be giving money to our Border Patrol agents and to ICE to help them with this influx, but no word on that. I do want to switch gears with you, Congressman, because according to the Pentagon's annual report to Congress on China's military, China could have 700 deliverable nuclear warheads by 2027 and 1,000 3 years later. As the leader of the House Foreign Affairs Committee, how leery should we be of China's military ambitions?
It's the biggest threat to our national security. And they fired off a hypersonic missile in August, and that got exposed. That missile can detect our missile defense system. It can get around it. It can carry a nuclear warhead. The fact is, Lindsay, they're ahead of the United States now in terms of hypersonic weapons. These are probably the most dangerous weapons out there. And I think, after the catastrophe in Afghanistan, to have, the weakness projected by Biden sending signals throughout the world to China, to Russia, to China that you can, invade Taiwan, Russia, you can invade Ukraine. The buildup of this nuclear capability is absolutely frightening, given the fact of their goals, and that is world domination, both militarily and economically. And President Xi has said as much. He wants an imperial China. So we got to wake up to this, but I'm afraid this administration is doing nothing to deter either at the border or deter China from its aggression or Putin from his aggression in the Baltic states.
And Congressman, it's scary to think, but this administration still has 3 years left in office. Unbelievable given what we've been through so far in just a short matter of time. But it seems like they're approaching China wrong. Is there any opportunity, do you think, to course correct once Republicans take back the majority, or at that time will it be too late?
It could be too late for Taiwan, and I worry about that. We have to show deterrence in the region to stop them from invading Taiwan. I was with the Taiwanese ambassador last night. We did have these nuclear submarines. It'll take a long time. But the message has to be clear that we are defending Taiwan. It's a democracy, freedom. They have the advanced semiconductor chips. But again, this hypersonic missile event is a huge wake-up call to the world and the United States that we are falling behind now. And we have to do everything we can to make sure there's no treaty with China, by the way, unlike Russia. I got to tell you, Jen, the most thing that gets me the most riled up is that this hypersonic weapon was built on the backbone of American technology. Whatever we didn't give to them, they stole, and whatever they didn't steal, we sold to them. And we have to stop this. We got to stop funding the PLA military through American investment and exports of technology to China. That's something when we get the majority back, I'm going to stop.
Yeah.
Congressman, before we let you go, just in 30 seconds, did the ambassador to Taiwan feel like the U.S. is doing enough to defend them?
Very sensitive conversations. I think they know they have strong support in the Congress. I sign off on all the weapon military sales to them. But we need to be doing more in terms of deterrence. And when the White House sends out messages to the contrary, that just emboldens President Xi, just like Afghanistan and the unconditional surrender to the Taliban emboldens President Xi He's going to take advantage of this window, and I worry about Taiwan. And we have to have a military presence in the Indo-Pacific to stop it.
Congressman McCaul, appreciate your time this evening and your insights.
Oh, thanks so much, Lindsay and Jen.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, we're real news for real people.